as I was driving, all of a sudden in this intersection, someone took the stop sign. And I was completely shocked because they hit me really hard. I didn't expect it at all. And afterwards, I was concerned about the driver. She came out and asked how I was doing. I was pretty shook up, but I was okay. The airbag released and I felt slight pain here and there, but I guess with adrenaline kicking in, I was pretty excited, nervous, everything above.
I was on my way back from another business meeting, going back to the office to check in with my partner at about 4, and I was taking a left on Old Courthouse, or taking a left to get to Old Courthouse Road, and it was a left-hand turn signal. In Tyson's, as you know, it's a little, circuitous, and there's a lot going on. So. The light was red even, the left turn signal was red, and then all of a sudden I was just completely knocked out. And it was someone behind me who was not, he mentioned as he got out of the car that he just came back from a doctor's visit and he's so sorry, and he hit me going about 75, and I was going probably 2 miles or 5 miles an hour, if not.
An old lady ran a red light and she totaled my Land Rover Discovery. It was a pretty strong car, but she hit me so hard that the car was completely gone.
All the fluid from my car, it was running like river underneath my car. My fender lifted up, it went jump over my hood. It was completely destroyed. My car was total.
I was completely stopped at a red light and I got rear-ended. Right after I got hit, I felt pain on my neck. I exchanged information with the person who was at fault, who immediately apologized. She said she was distracted, and so I didn't call the police. But right after, because of the pain I had, I decided to go to the hospital.
My father was killed in a hit and run, and we had to deal with the insurance companies to try to get compensation from them, and they denied us at all costs.
I get asked all the time, socially, during the course of the day, I've been hurt, how do I know if I need an attorney? And my answer usually follows one of two answers they give me to the question I'll ask. And the question I'll ask is, were you hurt? And if they say yes, then I say, well, then you need an attorney, because at the end of the day, you're probably not prepared to know how to present a claim properly to the at-fault driver's insurance company, and you probably are not going to get the compensation that you deserve to fully take care of all the things that went wrong in your life, the bills that mounted up, the wages that you lost, and proper compensation for your suffering.
I called my insurance, and my insurance said, whoever was my adjuster, said, don't worry about it. I will, the other insurance will give you some help with the medical issues in case you end in with more medical bills. And I said, no, it's not my fault. They need to pay for everything. Yeah, but they say that will help you. No, I don't want to talk to you anymore, and I need to find a lawyer.
After a year and a half of wasting my time and realizing that I didn't have the professionalism that I thought I had, it was time that I better reach out to someone, and fortunately enough, it was Mr. Samico.
I called several attorneys, and they're like, well, if you get your leg amputated, call us. That was kind of their attitude. So yeah, they wanted money. They said if you lose a limb or something, but they didn't want to take the case. So I was discouraged.
I went to a different lawyer first, and I felt that the lawyer I had wasn't doing his job properly. So I looked online, and Mr. Samico name popped out. So I contacted him, and he made things so easy. I mean, he made the transfer from the previous lawyer to himself very easy.
You need to know that you got someone that's got your back and is trying to work for you and not against you with the other insurance companies, because it seems like sometimes things work out really good for people, sometimes they don't. It just depends on who their representation is.
I want to share my philosophy about calling a lawyer and going to see a lawyer. I don't care what the issue or the concern is. It is stressful. It is stressful. Most people, they know a lawyer, they see them most maybe socially, but actually going in with a legal issue, problem, or concern, they're worried about the potential consequences if something bad is going to happen. They're very worried about money. How much is this going to cost? They've heard the stories that lawyers don't really pay attention to them and they just want to collect their fee. I hope that the clients that have come through my office over the last 41 plus years have felt something different from me.
With him, he was the only lawyer that took time out. For me, it's just that listening part. Like, you just want your lawyers to hear you. I don't want you to hear what your, what your aide told you, we said. He was there.
I think attorneys are a little scary at times and a little intimidating, especially when it comes to something like this. I don't think someone would pick up the phone and say, after getting in an accident, I need to find a PI attorney.
I actually saw a commercial of Mr. Samico, and I gave him a call, and it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. He picked up the phone. We talked for about 45 minutes to an hour, and he told me he'll get back with me the following day, and he did. And he decided he'll take the case. And from that point on, everything was great. It just was a smooth transition for him handling from what I had to go through back and forth of sending this document and sending that document, and everything I sent was never enough. But when Mr. Samico took over the case, I had no more worries.
It was maybe easier to find a lawyer who wanted to settle for a quick buck and be done with the case. But finding a lawyer who wanted to go the whole way, following up for over a year, dragging this case, that wasn't easy. So he was the right person.
There are many ways to describe Paul. For me, it was always a professional, a person that really believed in what he was doing.
He was the first one we called, not the first one we looked at. We also looked at the reviews for others, and we did like Paul Samico's reviews, so we decided to give him a call.
And there is a relationship between the attorney and his or her client, and that is that people want to do business with those people they know, like, and trust. So you don't know anybody, how can you like them, and certainly how can you trust them? Well, that comes back to the social proof. Read lots of reviews.
My husband is an attorney for energy. He works for FERC, which is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And he looked at the reviews, of course, in detail, as attorneys do. And he said, this guy sounds really good, Teresa. Let's give him a shot. So I put faith in what my husband had to say. So I felt comfortable actually coming in pain, I will say, because my back was still hurting at that time. But I wanted to state my case and hopefully have Mr. Samico help me with the case. So I was ready to put everything on the table.
Is the attorney willing to get on the phone with you and spend some time?
You call his line, he will answer. Why? He says, I love it. It's challenging. I think that motivates him. I said, Paul, when are you going to retire? I can't, I don't want to.
I've known attorneys for most of my career. I spent almost 20 years at a company that sells to attorneys. So I dealt with them all the time. And some could be stuck up, some can feel like they're more important than you, some can be just like regular people. And we have Paul.
Paul is the most accessible attorney anywhere, hands down. When he prides himself on giving out his cell number and having it on every piece of collateral, that when that phone rings, he excuses himself from a conversation politely, takes the call politely, and then brings himself back into a conversation. But he is reachable 100% of the time.
Communication between me and you is important, and that's a high value for me. I kind of laugh at some lawyers' ads that I see, oh, available 24/7. No, you're not. I'm available 17/24. I do sleep. You call me, I answer the phone. I answer the phone if I'm awake.
Every time I have a question, every time I had something in doubts, I used to call. I was so confident I will get anyone and everyone it was able to answer my question.
I think he's just a very friendly person who always does right by other people, and other people see that and they want to be around him. So he has that very open nature, I feel like.
He's incredibly forthright. There's no hidden agenda with Paul. You know what you're getting when you ask a question. And in a world where that doesn't happen very often, it's refreshing when somebody does do that.
Paul is not selling. He's saying, I'm here to help you. I'm going to help you to get what you deserve.
Paul really kind of pounded home that you need to just focus on yourself and recovering. And this whole time I was trying to go back to work, trying to do all of these things, and my brain really needed some time to heal.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's my values. I want you to be treated the way I would want to be treated if I was a client in another lawyer's office. That's the way I'm going to treat you. And you're going to hear right at the beginning from my mouth, and if I'm not there, from my staff, that I'm accessible. You're going to get my cell phone.
He's not that kind of lawyer that will promise you and not to deliver. He will tell you, these are the things going to happen, this is the case is going to go through, and this is the law in the state of Virginia.
From a psychological standpoint, because I do deal with people who are injured, I do understand they want to tell their story. They want to tell you all that happened. They want to tell you there was discrimination. He didn't listen to me at the scene, the cop. There was this. And hopefully I've never disrespected anybody, but at certain points in the conversation, I might say to them, look, I want to hear everything you have to say, but the purpose of this phone call is to see if I can help you. So I can just get quickly, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quick facts, and I can give you some advice. I can answer the questions if that's all you're looking for, and that's fine. But let me see if I can help you.
Mr. Samako gave me different options. I have a pretty active lifestyle. I used to be a professional snowboarder, so I go skiing for a month in the winter in Europe. And that year I couldn't spend Christmas with the family. So I wanted that person to pay for this.
I felt comfortable with Paul, and I had really good responses anytime I had questions and stuff. He would either have them right there, or he'd call me back an hour or two later with the answer, whether I liked it or not, But at least I knew that he just didn't pick something out of the sky, and then 6 months down the road, nothing was the way that he said. That's not the case. He laid it out real simple. Said, here's our worst case scenario, here's our best case scenario, and we're going to try to be at the best case, but at least you know where you stand on the other side of the fence.
Something that I really appreciate about Mr. Samako is that he sent me a letter telling me how much money he's going to be asking to the insurance company and how much money he was expecting to get. So that way I had expectations. So after he sent me the letter, probably 2 or 3 weeks after I received the letter, I signed the letter to let him know that I was okay with everything on the letter, and he settled the case after 2 or 3 weeks.
I don't win every case. If you go to a lawyer and that lawyer says he wins every case, he's a liar, she's a liar, say thank you and leave. Doesn't happen. Lawyers lose cases, and it's not always the lawyer's fault. But an overwhelming majority of the cases, I do very well for my clients.
Care and compassion that he has for his client is almost flipped the switch when he deals with the insurance company or the competitor. And it has to be, right? He's truly fighting to get the best outcome for his client. And you get that from a mixture of compassion and understanding of the other party's stand, but also to make sure that you're looking out for your own party's interests first and foremost.
Being in a car accident is no fun. It's something that you're not expecting and change your everyday life.
You go to work every day to provide and take care of your family. And you try to do the things that are right. You know, make sure that they're in the best place possible. And, you know, you go out and get insurance and health care and things of that nature, and you pay for them, and you never use them. And then when there's a time for you to use them, and you feel like the people that you trusted screw you, it's a part of you that wants to get what's due to you. I have a son who's graduating in 2 weeks. Very proud of him, by the way. And I have a son that's in the 10th grade, very close to my father. A lot of fishing, hunting, sporting events and things like that together that they won't be able to do anymore. Times like this make it a little harder for me. The services that was rendered by them were not what they told me they were going to be in a time of need. And Mr. Samico made them make it right. So I thank Mr. Samico very much for that.
During that time mentally, when you're trying to get better, of course you have this thought, why me, why me? But then again, I had to like change my way of thinking and say, this isn't so bad because it could have been worse.
Having a car accident changes everything. And having somebody that knows that they have the best interest and they want to make sure that you are okay now and trying to get you back where you used to be, it felt great.
It's important to feel the human side of a lawyer, and I mean, he got that, you know, you could feel the human side of him, not only the lawyer, you know. When you're in pain and your whole life being completely disturbed, it's nice to have some support from somebody like Mr. Samico.
I know at least 5 other people that have used him that think the world of him, so it's not by accident.
Who would be in my corner? Paul, for sure.
When you can trust someone and pour out your heart and soul to them, and they keep all that in confidence, and they try to keep you stable, get you back on the grounded earth, and guide you to make the right decisions for your health, for your wealth, and for your future being. No better advocate that I've run across.
I want to make my clients my best walking advertisement. I want them to say, wow, Paul and his staff were unbelievable. They treated me with respect. They addressed my questions and concerns and resolved them for me in a relatively short and very reasonable period of time. And at the end, they did great for me. I mean, the results, I was so happy with those results. Again, going back to values and the golden rule, that's what I would expect, and that's what I'm going to give to you, my client, as, you know, someone who has honored me by walking through the door. I've always understood that the reason we go into business has to be threefold. The first is that for me, I want to take care of my employees. I'm very, very proud that over the years I've probably had, goodness, I can't even think of the number, but I have 14, 15 employees right now, and they are in some manner beholden to me because I do well financially and I can give them money as salary and raises and bonuses, and they can take care of their families. That's their concern, as is everybody. Employees are the number one because they're my face to the world. They are out there on my behalf and on theirs because they love what they do. They're dedicated people. They work overtime and don't complain. They come in early and don't complain. They do what needs to be done for my clients. That's what you can expect as a client. But I take care of them. Next is the client. And it's not a choice, but it's just a natural progression. I got to take care of my staff, and then I'm going to take care of you, my client, in all the ways that I've already talked about. And then the third thing is I want to be involved in the community. I don't like people who don't have a cause. I don't care what kind of cause it is. My cause is don't text and drive. It's an important cause, that texting and driving causes injuries. You could get hurt doing it, you could hurt others doing it, and it could be worse than just hurt. People die. That's why I do what I do. That's why I think what you can expect when you come in, that somebody who is both feet in the water with you, who has values and morals and integrity and is responsible to you first, second, and always.